My name is Ruiz. I am the chairperson of Enlace. So who is new here today? Okay, we have new faces here today. So welcome.
New for this chair, but for
So Enlace is a non-profit organization, an all volunteer-led organization. It's run by a board of directors, and I have a few members here, so I would like the members to say yay. So we have Magnus, we have Pilar, they already arrived. People usually start arriving, and I saw today a lot of traffic. So
I love this.
yeah, it was
Crazy.
And it's the last day of the conference. Yes, that's right, yeah.
So yeah, that's probably, have some effect. So, but we have to continue. I know that people will, join us. So if you want more information about Enlace, we'll give you some brochures. So we meet every Wednesday of the month. Our meetings are open to the public. Everybody is welcome. Junior? Good morning. And today we're going to have two great presentations. Our main presenter is going to be the Business Society, but our production presenters is going to be from the soil and water, because as you know, last month we started the Civic Minute Chat. That is a new segment designed to create opportunities for community leaders to connect with public agencies and elected officials. With that, today we have our guest for this. Our guest today is Barbara Bleiweiss, supervisor at the Mecklenburg Soil and Water Conservation District, who will share about her role and how we can connect with the soil and conservation. Barbara, thank you. Please do not forget to sign the attendance. That will be
Good morning. Good morning. Nice to meet all of you. Good morning. My name is Barbara Bleiweiss. That's my married name. My maiden name is Lum, which is far easier. I often tell people that the best way to pronounce it is my name rhymes with fried rice. I'm Chinese, as I'm from Hawaii, and I love rice. I think you guys do. That usually, everyone loves that. Barbara fried rice. I am a supervisor on the Soil and Water Conservation District. I call myself bottom of the ballot Barbara. So when you look at your ballot, I'm the last office before the ballots. So bottom of the ballot Barbara before the ballots, before the bonds, excuse me. I will be on the ballot in November, and I'm going for my third term. Right? Wow. And in that, I started this in 2018, 2017. I've learned, I continue to learn how difficult this job is. There are 5 supervisors on our board. There are 3 elected, 2 appointed. And I say that because as much as we have elected bosses, we have 1 staff person. Allison, I'm standing in front of Allison. Allison is a very critical part in making the district happen and what we do. And I have 3 posters to try to describe what we do and how we want to work with you, and why it's important for you to understand that so that we can continue our good work for the next 4 years. So the very first thing that we do is soil and water. Soil is our Bible. Soil is the basis and water of all life. I think we would all agree for that. And here in Mecklenburg County, where we have over 4,000 miles of streams, we try to protect the soil and the water. We protect the soil from running off into the streams, polluting the streams, and that has an impact on our drinking water. So very simply, we focus on keeping that soil in the ground, keeping those nutrients in the ground, and keeping it out of the streams. Mecklenburg County, because of all the development, that's a big deal. The term is impaired and impacted streams. So we play a role with the county to keep soil out of streams on private land. That's the big difference. Talk to the county, they can only deal with public land or those slivers of land that they share with you. But we are a private land. We go in your backyard with your permission, and we plant things. We do different practices to make sure that soil does not erode into the streams. As simple as that sounds, it's not simple at all. This particular shows a before and after, if you will. So that's what we do. We have been doing that since 1963, when our division was first established. The soil and water districts have been around since 1937. There's a lot of us. And there's actually some in Puerto Rico, as I mentioned. Guam, there's 3,000 of us across the nation. But this is what we do. A lot of our focus has been streams. Add to that the following. North Carolina, one of our top industries is agriculture, farming. Mecklenburg County has lost a lot of farmers. This particular chart just has data on farms. Big difference between here and rural Asheville. But what's important is that of the 5 supervisors I just mentioned, 2 are farmers. We'd love to have them all farmers, but that's hard. One of the farmers is Eliseo Pascual. Eliseo and Wendy are very critical parts. Not only do they represent agriculture, they represent very healthy, small farms, small business, but they help represent the Latino community to our board. We have always believed we needed more representation from the Latino community, and I only met Eliseo, I think it was last year. He's made a huge commitment to being on our board and helping represent the Latino community in ways they wish to be represented. Okay? So I share that with you because in 2017, the very first program that I pushed was farmland preservation for Mecklenburg. And Mecklenburg County Commissioners responded with a big yes. So that's very important. What that means is that we get money and funding to continue to promote the Pascuales farms of the world and try to protect their land from development. And the final, which is very important here, and I'll summarize, is because of Allison coming on and with her energy and smarts, we believe that our message needs to be for everyone. Focus on what I'll call accessibility was the term that we had used. In this room, I can be very candid. We're talking about diversity as well. So with that, we're looking at all our materials and translating them to Spanish. That was the first priority. We're also looking to translate to other languages, but Spanish is first because of the population. We're also looking to translate and to create materials for those that are nonverbal. So the Autistic Society, the autistic those on the spectrum, the huge community there. Allison, in particular, and I'm working to try and get funding. We're looking for partners to help educate us. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is it just materials? Yes. Is it training? Yes. We have environmental toys to help the kids. How should those be structured to deal with those children? And by virtue of helping the children, we're helping the adults understand more of what we do. So conservation for everyone. So all these 3 programs exist with our district. And the reason I asked for your vote in November and for you to take time to vote on that ballot is so that we can continue this work. It doesn't happen on its own. It takes work, time, and commitment. And your vote for me and for us helps me continue that. So with that, that's us. Thank you.
How you have seen like improvement in the years that you've been serving? Like in the system,
Right.
which is, I don't know, the system itself.
So what's interesting with us, everything we do is volunteer.
Okay.
Everything is volunteer. But to measure our success is, I'll say, in one, it's the level of engagement with the county. So we have some money. We get a little bit of money from the Department of Agriculture, but most of it comes from City of Charlotte, and Mecklenburg County Stormwater Services. We've seen that money go up. To me, that's one sign. They have embraced accessibility. In fact, theirs is what took you so long. So we have a team, a very good board, with LSA being a major part of that, and Allison is a huge part of that. To focus on accessibility and fund it. Because it's one thing to say you support it, if you don't have any money behind it, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So that's our message. Any other questions, please?
Thank you.
Besides voting for you, what else can we do at a very small level so that we can start right away?
I'm gonna ask you to help answer how we might get some support from these fine folks.
So I think the best thing to do is just to get involved. So get your hands a little bit dirty with the soil. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities. I encourage everybody to go to Creek Week because we do presentations there, but it's also a good opportunity for you to interface with the rest of the county and learn a little bit more about your natural resources.
Yeah, I'll add one thing. We always look for support
Yeah.
for materials, especially conservation for everyone. If there's, we'll love to sit in on some of the meetings on how we can craft what that looks like, especially for those on the spectrum. The other I would add is, we have a tree seedling sale every year. In 2020, there's a few years that we got COVID, but we would love to engage with a community to plant more trees. Plant more trees.
So what's like the website or where can you find where the opportunities are?
Yeah.
So we have that, Allison has a card, and that.
So I have my card, or I have these handouts with a QR code that will go directly to our website if anybody's interested. I have them both in English and Spanish, so whichever you prefer. I can put it. Yeah, I'll put it on the table.
It's only for Mecklenburg residents.
Yes, yes, yes. In fact, that's my turn. We work with the others, right, but that's, so the tree seedling sale is huge. And then we're developing some other programs, I don't want to bore too many people, but we're looking at ways to address communities that have been underrepresented, and looking at things like rain gardens, pollinator gardens, things that we can, that are not complicated. We can plant out in places. So we would love perhaps some ideas of neighborhoods.
Exactly. So jumping off your point there, I think finding a way into the community is one of the biggest hurdles for us. We don't, I mean, I'm just one staff person. Unfortunately, I'm not fluent in Spanish. I wish I was.
She's working on Korean though.
I only go so far. But basically, we want to connect with these people that we've never interfaced with before. And when I do talk to them, the first thing I would say is, I didn't know you existed. And I think that's unfortunate because there's a lot of opportunities to help them both natural resources and finance. Because we do cost share programs, which allows us to reimburse 75% of the cost for an implemented best management practice. So finding a way into the community and making sure that we maintain that relationship is super important. So yes, we're starting with translating our materials, but how are we going to talk with these people? How are we going to get our message across if they don't know we exist? So we rely on community members like you guys to help us in that way.
So, you just talk about the autism, the individuals or children. So, we have a program here in this area called Enlace for high functional autism individuals that also are looking at ways to be a volunteer. And I think we will have the connections. We would love to have the connection with this program is nice, that they are adults with high functional autism, they understand, they're able to be independent, but also they're looking ways to volunteer as well. Children with teenagers that after the school years are looking how they can be useful. So it would be great that we can have the connections in English and Spanish like that. And so if there is information there, we can connect, we can send you information. By the way, also, we have here at the Spanish support group, Avatar is the coordinator for the group, so we would love to have your presentation there. And we have Nancy who's working, Nancy Walking is the autism research specialist who covers several counties in this area. So it would be great we can connect with you and look the ways at how we can also include the families, English speakers, Spanish speakers in these volunteer areas, and also maybe talking about probably ideas how to do strategies, visual pictures, agendas, everything. So I don't know too much about that, but we can
I would love to do that. I would love to do
initiate a
that.
conversation.
Because I would love to then get additional funding from the county and also grants so we can do something very specific, deliverable, either some of the environmental tools that we have, educational tools, have that specifically for those adults as an example to teach it in Myers, right?
Yes.
And then the kids, so that would be wonderful to find that and then pursue it.
I don't have the response exactly how we can work about teaching, but we can talk to
Oh, yeah.
our directors.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, talk to Nancy that she's gonna be part of
Yeah, that'd be great, we can exchange I look forward to that.
Because we have a very solid start on some of our children's adaptive materials, but we are showcasing our first adult education for adults with autism and developmental disabilities, but we want to expand so teaching adults more of that technical knowledge that they need to either apply for cost share or receive technical assistance from us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I know that you have some, business stuff.
I do, I have a few, and Allison's also. Okay, thank you.
Right, because there's other reorganizations that we work with people in this as well. So, yeah, there's a great information, and with that now we pivot with our main presenters, the Autism Society of North Carolina. If you don't know yet, this is Autism Acceptance Month. So yeah, so we are going to know a little bit more about what the Autism Society does and what autism is, because we know that there's still a lot of questions about what really is autism, and we need to clarify that. So with that, I would like to introduce you Mariela, Nancy, and Tabata. So go ahead. Whatever you decide. That's your presentation.
Buenos días. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Thank you so much to be here. Good morning. My name is Mariela Maldonado. I am working at the Autism Society almost 20 years. In these organizations, long time ago, doesn't remember that long time ago, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, I came to this meeting in Enlace. Long time ago was at this time was at the Meat Museum, something like that, long time ago. But it's very good to see you and see all your faces that we're working, have communication with you. Thank you so much, and thank you for the invitation for that. So my presentation, our presentation is divided by 3 parts because we have 3 representatives. I'm working for the whole Latinos Hispanic populations across the state. And we have Nancy Coffee, who's an autism resource specialist, who the office is located here in Charlotte, but also she provides like, I don't know how many, maybe 15, 20 counties in this area. And also we have Tabata, who's our Hispanic facilitator, who's coming in a few minutes. So, saying that, I would like to share some information about what is Autism Society. This is a non-profit organization that provides services for families and for caregivers, for maybe for individuals, and also for anybody, for professionals who would like to talk and would like to have information how to work with them. So this is some kind of our services. I would like to, I have information in our tables, and also please you can take these information about what Autism Society provides across the state. This organization was created probably almost 60 years ago, actually, 55 or 60 years ago was created here in North Carolina, and we we developed for years more and more, and right now we have offices across the state. We have office here in Charlotte, we have offices in, the central offices in Raleigh, we have in Fayetteville, in Greenville, Greensboro, Wilmington, in another city. So we have services across the state for families with children with autism and adults with autism and individuals with autism. So we have also provide summer camp for individuals with autism through the Camp Royal once in the summer, and also we have a program for summer camp in the area of the East area. We have program for adults, we just mentioned it. We have Ignite, which is a program for high functional autism individuals over than 18 years old, because they develop skills to be independent, but sometimes they need learn some skill of social, and also how to work, how to do a resume for a job, how to do an interview for a job, how to maintain the job. So many things that we would like so much that you can know about that. And also we have employment support. We have a program that's an adult finish the high school and is ready to work. We have a staff who can work with this individual, go to the job and provide resources and teaching them how to work and helping to work in case they don't have yet the skills to work independently. Also, we have events like a run walk for autism. Many know this in this area, but the principal area is in Raleigh, but we have across the state an event that people can running and they also can contribute, because this is the way we can get donations. Since we are a non-profit organization, we don't charge anybody who's coming and contact us. Or could be a mom, could be a father, could be a sister, could be a grandfather, could be pastor of the church, or could be any social worker. If we can provide information, educate them, what are the resources, what are the services that they can apply when the mom got the diagnosis. And also, where we can provide the diagnosis, what are the places, the locations, the institutions, the centers across the state to evaluate the child. So, and also, we have the same information in Spanish. I would like to share something very important. Years ago, in 2013, Dr. Degree, she was a student, she became our intern. I was so proud to have her as an intern for Autism Society. She was studying about what is the difference, what is the situations of the Latino families with children with autism. And she got some important information, and I got 3 of them. So she found Latino children were less likely to be diagnosed with autism, with Asperger. At this time was called Asperger different, high functional autism, or PDD and OS. So she believes that most of the Latino families, they don't get the diagnosis on time. Also, average Latina mothers have less knowledge about autism. It could be different ways, because the language barrier, or could be this mom is not connecting in the community, or maybe is working in the house and is not able to go out. Latina mothers also need more help finding ways to have the children to be evaluated and taken in public school. I have so many parents that they call me, the children are 7 years old, and Latina families say, I don't know what to do, my son cannot go to the school because he's not yet the kid does not talk, or he's still with diapers, and they don't have any knowledge that there is an exceptional children program. The children can go to the school after 3 years old. So still now here in 2026, we still families that they don't know, have information that the child can go to the school and be evaluated at the school and get information and get programs when the child is 3 years old or early intervention. The most important thing that I'd like to share some things that we have, and that's the reason that we like to promote more about what is Autism Society, how we can help the families. There are some parents that is keeping the idea to evaluate the child because they believe it's their fault. Moms, they believe, I don't want to evaluate my child because I really have time, I just quit my job, so I'm going to work with my child. And they believe their love and the time is going to help the child to talk, which is some very, very interesting and very good opportunity, but really what the child needs evaluation and medical treatment and also therapeutic treatment. So this is something the parents are still thinking they don't need to be evaluated because they believe it's something that she's not doing okay, or because she's not happy, or because she's working so much, or because there are problems at home. But really, they need to know that it's okay, it happens in each family, and all they need to do talk to the pediatrician, request an evaluation, or call Autism Society. We can give them a list of a center of evaluations for autism, and also how they can get services at home. Also, we send people the same information. They avoid to enroll children at the school because they believe the Chinese times. It's too young. I don't want to go to my child can go to the school yet because he's not going to the bathroom yet. He's still in diapers, and I need to work with them. And they did not know that the exceptional children programs for pre-K and also after pre-K, they provide services, educating to go to the bathroom, educating how to communicate, how to use the agendas, how to do the pictures, how to interact communications and everything. So we have a bunch of information we would like so much to share with them. So we would like so much that here at Enlace, getting this information, please connect the parents. If you have anybody, you know anybody who the child is not talking yet, or maybe the mom doesn't know what happened, or either the child has autism, please share with us. Share that Autism Society provides services in English and in Spanish, and by the way, in another language as well. So we would like so much that they know that we can provide services for them. So Autism Society is working with Latino families. We development Hispanic department, which is the department that we're working with Tabata across the state, working with Latino families. We hire bilingual as much as we can do. Also, we have an accounting man or accounting person working with a child with autism, bilingual in Spanish, and that can work with us. We have at the present time, we have 3 facilitators across the state that running Hispanic support groups. We have a bunch of volunteers, moms, who are also a leader for the Hispanic support group and bilinguals. And also we have a strong outreach event in the Hispanic. Please contact Tabata, contact Nancy. When you have any event in your community, you have a Hispanic fair, you have a Hispanic health, or anything, please invite us. We would love so much to go to your places and share about Autism Society and explain how we can help the family without any charge, without asking if they have to pay or the child was born here in the United States or not. So this is the key. So this is the information that I wanted to share with you. And right now, we're going to pass to Nancy Nestor, who is our autism resource specialist, who really is I think is working more than 20 years in our organization.
Thank you, Tanya. So I'm Nancy Popkin. I'm one of 3 autism resource specialists in the Charlotte area. I've been with the Autism Society. I'm coming up on 23 years, so just a little more than Mariela. But we've been around a long time, and we've seen a lot of growth and development in so many positive ways in our organization, and that's really exciting. As an autism resource specialist, we have to be a parent of someone with autism. So Mariela is, Tabitha is, and I am. My son is 32 years old, so I've been doing the autism thing a long, long time. As autism resource specialists, we provide support and information primarily in the community to families, majority parents, but also grandparents, professionals, community stakeholders like yourself, who are looking for, I don't know, have a question and they're trying to figure out, what resources are available, what providers are available, how do I solve this problem, like what do I need to do, who do I need to see? So that's the kind of stuff that we get. We don't have a physical office in Charlotte for the Autism Society of North Carolina. So we have our autism resource specialists here, and then we have our employment services. Our Ignite program is up in the town of Davidson, in the north part of Mecklenburg County. But that's our only physical space. But back to the autism resource specialists, we probably connect with about 150 parents and other stakeholders a month in the Charlotte area. A lot of that interaction will be on the phone, an email, and with families especially, we do a lot from the point of diagnosis. So when the child is getting a diagnosis, we do workshops every single month called After the Diagnosis. And we have 2 versions of that workshop. One is for parents of children who are younger so birth to like 7, and one for school age, like 8 and up. And those workshops give parents an introduction to understanding the diagnosis, and then also some next steps that they can be taking related to specifically school and education, as well as connecting with the managed care organizations for Medicaid-funded services. So we do a lot of systems navigation support for families so that they're understanding, you know, who do I call, what do I say, and how do I, you know, advocate for my child and their needs in that context, right? If there are issues with navigating services, especially when it comes to by either school or Medicaid, families will call us, and that's when we will either, you know, ask to dig in a little more deeply. Maybe we'll make a connection with them, make a phone call with them. With schools especially, we may reach out and connect with the school district to see what's going on, or we will accompany a family to an IEP meeting, a school meeting. IEP means Individualized Education Program, or if you're not familiar with it. And so we can be that support for families. We can't get to everybody's meetings though. We do get a ton of requests for those, and because of it's a huge time commitment to go to a meeting, and we're all part-time, so that can be a little tricky. But we'll try to support the family as much as we can. For our Hispanic families, when they connect with us, if they're not able to speak English, because none of us are fluent in Spanish, we usually will have them connect with Mariella. We have 2 other autism resource specialists who are bilingual, who support Mariella in that sort of systems advocacy that we do. And so they're able to sort of get the information from the parent, and then they will provide it to us. If we're going to accompany a family to a meeting, there's usually an interpreter present, so then we can connect with the parent through an interpreter in the meeting at the school. So that's often, Mariella and I work that way often. So that's sort of one thing we do. I have connected with a few parents where we are using Google Translate in the email. I know it's not perfect, but it does give me a little bit of a way to provide some support and information. And of course, I can direct families to our Spanish language support services that are on our website, which are quite extensive. So that's kind of a little nutshell of what we do for families. There are some other things that we do as autism resource specialists. Of course, go to events. And we do a lot of education for community stakeholders. We do crisis intervention training with first responders all across our region. The Charlotte Resource Specialists cover 10 counties, but all 100 counties in North Carolina are covered by at least one of us. And we're providing that kind of education in the community on a regular basis, especially here in the Charlotte metro area. And then we do a lot of other trainings. I speak about autism all over the place. I work with medical providers. I teach a class in partnership with some other statewide organizations and whatnot. So, and I can answer questions about autism and anything. Anything. Yeah.
The Hispanic Support Group, we provide the services in person or by online. We have a Hispanic Support Group in Charlotte, and Raleigh, Durham, Greensboro, Tri-Area, Hispanic Support Group by WhatsApp, in Facebook, Wilmington, in another county. So here's Tabata, our Hispanic facilitator, who runs the Hispanic Support Group in Charlotte, that she can explain what we're doing in this program.
So I'm here in Mecklenburg County. My support group, we meet the first Tuesday of every month at Our Lady of Guadalupe Catholic Church from 10 to 12. I'm always looking for guest speakers, so if anybody will see it on the calendar, you can reach out to me to let the families know what's available in the community, right, that they can use or that can help them. Mine is all in Spanish, so if we need a translator, we would have to figure with Mariella how to do that. I am bilingual, but I prefer somebody else to translate. do activities with the kids and with families as well throughout the year. What else do we do, Mariella?
We have right now a picnic is coming.
Oh yeah, a picnic. We do picnics with the families. My role, or what I try to do with the families, is let them know they're not by themselves, right, in this journey. And there's other people that's going through the same thing they are. And sometimes what works for one family might work for another family. Hey, you know what? My kid didn't use the potty until they was 12. This is how we did it. You know, let them know that just because, you know, you're going through this, you're not by yourself.
We have the activity for Halloween.
But yeah, so like Halloween, Christmas, Dia de Reyes, Valentine's, we do like those events, Mother's Day, Father's Day events. Do that with the
I'm
family.
hearing about it. This is the first time that you start working with Halloween time. So we have a festivity for Halloween. We have a parade. It was so great to see.
Oh yeah, with the kids, they got to dress up. And not so much kids, because a lot of the activities are made for kids and not for adults that are 20, 30 years old, but mentally, they're 5, 6 years old, you know? And so I try to include them in that. You know, just because you're this tall and this big doesn't mean you can't be with somebody this, if that's the way you are mentally, Rachel. And yeah, I'm the type of person, I prefer the kids. I prefer and interact with them. I'll get on the floor. I have no issue acting like a child and getting down. I prefer the kids more than I do adults. Oh, we also have, which is not with the Autism Society, but we also do the tennis. So as of right now through May, I believe, it's every Friday, tennis for kids with disability and non-disability at Aldersgate. So if you know any kids or
What's your age, like, what's the age range meant?
they well they prefer someone 6 years old, but we've had 3 years old come out and all the way up to adults. They can come out and do tennis from 4:30 to 5:30.
And your other activities mostly?
All ages. It's all ages. Like I said, right now we have some of the kids. I think my oldest one right now in the group that comes out, they're in their early 20s. And mentally, you know, they're not in their 20s right now.
So the Hispanic support group in Charlotte is meeting on
The first Tuesday of every month. We had a little confusion with our guest speakers this becoming in May, so I'm actually looking for someone for May 5th. Anybody wants to go ahead and sign up for that? Yeah.
We have a Hispanic support group by WhatsApp, very active because the
Yeah,
families
and WhatsApp, but that's only for families. For families, it's not for,
General public?
yeah, share public, or like, professionals or anything like that. It's just strictly for the families.
That's great.
And also a Facebook just for the families as well. Anybody have questions for Nancy? Or do you have any more slides?
Oh, I think we have one more. Thank you, Tabitha. Otherwise, I have more, but let's see. Oh, this is Charlotte that we have, and this is our contact. So this is us. We have any question for us or Hispanic support group for the services in Spanish, autism resource specialists.
Mariela, could you tell us or Nancy, what the parent should know? For example, you mentioned that sometimes there are delays, but what could be a delay that really, a parent, that take action and go ask for an evaluation?
So, if you want me to take that? So, if when we're looking at child development, we're looking at a couple things when we're diagnosing autism. Communication is a big piece of that. And we often think that talking is communication. And there's more to communication than just talking. So when we're looking at a small child and their development, of course, if there's a speech delay, and of course some parents don't know, like, well, what should they be doing? So when they go to their pediatric appointment, they should be getting like developmental milestones information from their pediatrician. But if not, there are some wonderful websites. CDSA actually has a wonderful website that goes through child development. When should a child be babbling? And saying, and what are the kinds of things they would be babbling? What are those first words? So we're looking for differences there that might raise a red flag. Maybe they're not babbling. Maybe they are, their first words are not the same as what we would expect if they aren't talking. So the question is, how do they communicate what they need and what they want? So many children on the autism spectrum, what the parents will experience is that they're not communicating what they need or what they want. They're just having a meltdown instead because they don't have the tools. Even if they're talking, they may not have the tools to communicate what they need or what they want. And so those would be some red flags that we might look for developmentally when it relates to communication. Socialization is another thing that we might be looking at. So socially, what is this child doing? What are typical toddlers doing? Interacting. They play in the same space with each other. And they might, eventually, they have something and they do something, we call it joint attention, where I'm interested in something and I want you to look at it too. And so I get your attention. But a child with autism may not be doing that. They're sort of more in their own, world in a way, just doing their own thing, not engaging somebody else, whether it's a peer or another adult. We often say, we see that they don't point. So those are things that might be missing that somebody might say, oh, that's not quite right. And then, we may see some repetitive behavior, some physical manifestations of these things. So whether it's, some hand flapping, spinning, or, needing a lot of rocking, or being very sensory averse to things. So maybe they don't like to be touched, won't eat most foods because nothing feels good in their mouth. So we see a lot of sensory differences, or they might be seeking out. So they may spend hours running their fingers under running water, and that's the only thing that makes them happy. And you're like, all right, fine, I will turn on the tub again, and because you do that. But so when we start bending over backwards to accommodate all these quirks, then we need to say something. But hopefully, if they're going, and as a community, just encouraging families to be going to those pediatric well-checked visits. It's so important. Pediatricians, I work on a team of teaching doctors, and those pediatrician visits are so important for looking at those developmental milestones. There are developmental screeners now that can identify autism, and that is so important. If that existed when my son had been a toddler, he would have been identified even earlier, although he was diagnosed at his third birthday, so it was obvious. But, that's the kind of thing that we'd be looking for.
So, I do have a son with high functioning autism,
Yeah.
but I also have some friends that I know that are teenagers that are autistic, and the mom's like, so where do I take them? What's affordable? Like, how do I get them diagnosed?
Okay.
Which is also another difficult process, because it costs so much money, or who do I go to, or...
So this is what kind of call that we get. Loads of these calls. I suspect my child has autism. I suspect I have autism, which is a call we get a lot now from adults who have not been diagnosed. But they are like, I have been struggling all of my life, and now there's the internet is telling me maybe I have autism. Where do I go? So we get that information. I could rattle off a couple places to you right now off the top of my head, but really the best way to get that information would be they would email me or my colleagues, and that's where we have a talk with a specialist form on our website, and I think it's on this card. If you're trying to get in touch with us, the Autism Resource Specialist card on here has the talk with a specialist form on here, and so reach out to us. We would send that information, who to go to. If there's a question with insurance, we would make sure that, there are a couple options for some financial aid. There are a lot of wait lists. wait lists are like our bread and butter. It's the worst. But you know, we will also then coach families like, what can I be doing while I'm waiting? Because we have that lived experience. You know, there are things you don't have to wait for a diagnosis to start using some visual structure and support at home kind of thing. And we have like instructional videos on our website. I teach a lot of them, and they're a great way to learn how to do things at home and understand them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember about 15 years ago, I used to work with families with kids that had risk for developmental delay, and many of these parents they have a lot of denial, and many of them they mentioned that the developmental delay was mind related. I remember the communication, verbal communication, and was more related because they are raising bilingual kids. So they say, okay, because that's why he can talk, because he's learning Spanish and English, that's why he cannot say any word. Eventually he will or she will. And the other thing, that was 50 years ago, they didn't want to provide a diagnosis at some type of, I remember they had to be over 3 to receive the diagnosis.
Yes.
And I think that that can impact the stimulation, the early intervention and everything. What age do they have now?
So we're seeing diagnosticians diagnose as early as 18 months.
Okay.
And it's different, like how we would approach providing treatment and support for an 18-month-old. You know, they're not going to access therapies in the same way. So you're going to approach that differently. But you can still identify it and sort of build, you know, enrichment in the areas of communication, socialization to support that development. You know, there are a lot of families who are in denial. There are a lot of families, you know, and across cultures for different reasons, you know, that may be worried about their label. You know, if I attach a label to my kid, they're going to get bullied, or they're going to, you know, not be treated well by their peers or by, you know, adult support. And, you know, I kind of try to tell parents that, you know, if you don't attach a label to your child, but they're still engaging in behaviors that may seem inappropriate or unexpected to other people, they're still going to get bullied or not treated well or be misunderstood. And so that diagnosis gives us some language and context to actually support the community in supporting our child. My son is an adult. He's kind of interesting and different in that he is significantly impacted by autism, but he's also intellectually gifted. So he's very independent. He's college educated. He lives in his own apartment. He rides the cat's bus, but only if it's point to point. We don't do stops to change buses. But you know, so he needs a great deal of support, but he's very independent, and he's grown up with this diagnosis all of his life, so he has the language if he needs it to tell his employer, and he has support in employment. He has employment support, so the Autism Society of North Carolina, you know, for his work. So if he needs to advocate at work, he has a job coach that can help him do that. But he has the language to do that now, and the tools, because he's been taught and has the support, you know, for that. So, you know, there's a lot that we can do when we have the diagnosis. It can open up some doors, and that's why we want parents to contact us, right? So we can have that conversation, help them feel supported, get them connected, you know, with Tabitha's group, and if that's what they need, because that's going to be a way for them to, you know, not feel like they're going alone. We all, as parents, have learned from each other. That's been a big deal. That's why we're here. You know, I started doing the support group, just our basic Mecklenburg support group, and then started working. So, anyway.
Yes, my younger sister, she has twins, 4 years old, boy and girl. And in the beginning, we didn't know what was happening. We thought that they were spoiled, especially him, because he hits people. He didn't want to be approached or say hi. He was hitting everyone. And my question is, what do you, when he entered in crisis, like he hits my sister a lot, and last time he fractured the hand, and I heard that I ordered a car through Amazon because traveling, I guess the noise, he started hitting everyone in the plane and people they don't know, and one man he get very aggressive, he said, my children are not like that, you know what I mean? So I learned that car helps for easy access in the airport and with people so they know that be patient with them, you know, because they have those kind of crises. And also the clothes, he doesn't like to wear certain clothes, it has to be like cotton, I guess. Yes.
Yeah. I think, you know, for parents, when we do get the diagnosis and the more we learn about autism, it allows us to be able to explain it to other people. You know, when I'm teaching parents, I talk about, you know, if I'm using, like let's say I have a written directions or picture directions of what we're going to do and I'm using that in public, people see me doing that and then I don't have to walk around to every person at the grocery store saying, my son has autism, my son has autism, you know, but instead they may notice that, you know, we have a special tool that we're using to navigate this situation and we've got it under control and something different might be going on here and that's okay, right? So that, I know, I travel a lot with my son who lived on the West Coast for the first couple of years of his life before we moved here, and that was, you know, the kind of thing where just planning ahead, and that's the kind of support also parent-to-parent support that we can provide with parents to give them those tips. The Helpful Hints card is really good, yeah.
You can get it in Spanish and English.
Oh.
It shows for what is on system, what is happening, so parents can use at the store, at the airport, at the train stations, or bus, and say what happened. You can, somebody ask you the questions, and this is autism, please, you can educate.
I appreciate if we can have a couple.
We have here in English and
Thank you.
So we talked about the cultural differences in early identification of autism, which was really interesting, and what hurdles that could cause. Is there a hurdle in early identification between males versus females?
So, you know, we're not diagnosticians. There's a lot of research going on to look at the diagnostic evaluations we use now, and are they male biased? Because the prevalence of autism is higher in males than females. But I think, and I don't have any statistics to quote for you, like research studies, but I think that the incidence rate is still going to be male biased, even as we understand autism in girls and women better. But we are, I think there's been a term that gets used a lot now in the autism world is masking, where we are actually keen to know what's expected in certain situations, and we do have the ability to hold it together and perform so you can't tell, and that is significantly exhausting to the point where when I can't do that anymore, it looks awful. And now we're sort of beginning to understand that there are some girls that have masked for a long time, and so they go to school, everybody's like, they're fine, they're fine, they're fine. And like the mom's like, nope, not fine, you know, when they get home. And so I think that, you know, we are getting better at identifying that, asking better questions, that sort of thing. My son couldn't mask a day in his life. You know, it's just always out there. So, you know, it varies. But yeah, there's.
So you guys talked about connecting young adults with autism to careers. Do you see any interest in those individuals with STEM careers?
Oh yeah, loads.
Do you have like examples of what that was?
So there's actually the Autism Society of North Carolina and an organization called TEACH, which is based in Chapel Hill but has 6 regional offices as well, have partnered with DHHS for a program called Link It, which actually is developing employment opportunity these are internships, paid internships, that are meant to, and I want to say the data is that 80% of those internships are leading to full-time employment, and they're almost entirely in STEM fields. A lot of computer stuff, but other STEM fields as well. There are individuals, the spectrum's so broad and diverse for sure, but there is a sector of the population that's highly interested in and motivated by like deep and focused interests, and those deep and focused interests can be all sorts of things. Sometimes they're very obscure. It could be office supplies, or I don't know. We went through some really obscure things, but but then they can also be anime, and that might lead us to graphic design, right? Or doing a lot of computer work. My son's deep and abiding focused interest, one of them is natural history. He has a degree in biology. It's just a walking encyclopedia, right? So, I think that they can lead to some things. There's always a balance between what we know and where our skills are and what our bandwidth is for holding down employment. So there's a little bit of a balancing. But every individual is different, what they're able to do. There are some individuals with autism who are working full-time in highly engaging, complex fields. And there are others who, maybe just need to do some things in that setting, but a very simple, task, and it's just part-time, right? So limited. It's, again, a huge spectrum of experience.
So we have brochures and information. We have here the card that you like to take for information you can share with your sister, with your families, or you can use for any place. Please take the cards. Also, we have the 2 clicks, which is all information in English and Spanish about what are the strategies, how to create an agenda, how to do a visual structure, what does it mean to have a child at home, adult services, all the programs. So please, you can take this one, you can take a picture, we have a website for that. We have as well in Spanish resources, recursos en español para las familias. We have the support groups in English and Spanish. So please, you can take, and also information in English and Spanish, what is autism. So you would like to have something, information in your office, in your environment work, or you would like to share with the community, please take as much you want. If you need more, you can contact us, we can send you by mail. And this is information, and we have also a video in English with caps that share information how can work with the siblings. Also, how we can work with the high functional autism. We have videos. I brought 2 videos. If somebody would like to have more videos, it's long videos, all videos. But in case you have DVD, I don't have another way, but I don't know if we are going to create links. But this is very interesting in case the individual with high functional autism and also siblings, they would love to see this, to watch these videos. Very interesting and educative. And finally, we have a list of the MCOs, which is the I can say the
managed
care organization who provide case manager for a family who has a child with autism. And also we have
Medicaid.
With Medicaid, we have also service at home called 1950I, and also the waiting list for innovation waiver. Gladys, my sister, is here. She's working at Alliance Care. She knows more about that. But and also we provide this information for parents. So it's, as Nancy said, we educate parents when they contact us. Also, we educate them what are the resources, how you can get your case managed, how you can get service at home, how you can get therapies, ABA, and how you can work with the school. So many things. It's a big work. We're happy to share. We help in different ways.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for about to mention April's National Autism Awareness Month as well.
This picnic is this.
It's supposed to be this Saturday, but
This Saturday.
yeah, we might have to reschedule that.
Okay. Well, that's great information, and as we know, you probably have somebody who has autism, have families that you work with. So we need to help in any way that we can. And this is a great information. Also, they print the presentation, so get a copy. All right. Well, So thank you so much, Autism Society. Thank you so much, Soil and Water. And with that, now we pass to do our networking. How this works is that you introduce yourself, you say your name, your organization, what do you do, and I'm really, this is a fast speech, about 60 seconds. And if you have an event, just let us know about the most important event that you are having and how people can contact you. I also want to ask, where is attendance? I know that some people, join later, so make sure that you see your name and your information. So we're starting, last time I think that we started that way, now we're starting this way. All right.